Everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Syracuse Planning Commission. We have a number of public hearings for this evening's meeting. We will get to them momentarily. First, however, we will entertain action on the minutes of our last meeting, which was held on August the 7th. Minutes have been distributed to the commission members. Is there a motion for action on the minutes of our August 7th meeting?
Move approval of the minutes?
Second.
Discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Our August 7th minutes are approved. And we will move immediately into the public hearings scheduled for this evening. For those unfamiliar with our process, as each application is announced by a member of the staff, we will ask the applicant or the representative to come to the podium in the center of the room, provide your name and address for the record, and then a brief overview of your application. Following questions from the commission members, we will invite members of the public to speak in favor, who wish to speak in favor of the application, to do so. And then we will invite members of the public who wish to speak in opposition to the application to do that as well. Where comments are made in opposition, we will encourage the applicant to return to address the comments made in opposition. We ask that those speaking either in favor or against any particular application to confine their comments to 2 minutes. So with that, we're ready to go with our first application, please.
The first item on the agenda is R23-41. It's a re-subdivision for 300 South Wilbur Avenue from Home Headquarters, Inc. as the owner. We're going to ask that the public hearing commence on this item, but request that we hold the vote as we still need formal county planning board approval, but we hope to get through everything else.
Hello, my name is Lowell Nemitz with Home Headquarters. I'm kind of taking over this from somebody else, so I'm getting caught up to speed as well. Based on what I just heard, it sounds like we're just waiting for some county approval, and you don't need anything else from us at this time?
That's correct.
Okay.
Well, what we do need, however, is, that was to remind us, what we do need from you is an overview of the project that's before us tonight. And while this body won't act on the application this evening, we have to wait completion of action by the county planning board. We do need to hear what the project entails, and we need to hear those speaking in favor, those speaking against, and we might have some follow-up questions of our own once we hear your presentation. It doesn't have to be a long one, but a synopsis of what's involved in this.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes, again, just bear with me 1 second here. So the resub application is to split the existing lot at 300 South Wilbur and create 4 lots of varying sizes so that we can construct 4 1,600 square foot single-family homes aimed at first-time home buyers.
Hey, that was succinct. Thank you.
Can we just ask again for the gentleman's name and address?
Oh, yes, name
Sure.
and address for the
Yes,
record.
my name is Lowell Nemitz, and is that my personal address or?
Business address
The
is fine.
business address is 538 Erie Boulevard West in Syracuse.
Thank you.
Questions for the applicant from the commission members?
Not a question for the applicant, but do we have to hold off on our vote until the county takes action? What about seeker? Are we holding off on seeker as well until the county takes action? Okay.
I have one clarifying question. On the site plan, two of the houses will front on Wilbur, 2 will front on Bryant. The 2 fronting on Bryant and the corner house appear to all have individual driveways, all entering from Bryant.
Yes.
Is there a similar driveway for the house on Wilbur that's a bit further away? It looks as though that's the case on the site plan, but the other driveways are labeled driveway, and I just wanted to confirm that.
Sure.
Each will have an individual driveway.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Thank you. Any further questions?
All set.
Okay, thank you. Are there individuals who would like to speak in favor of this application? If so, please come forward. Provide your name and address and comments. Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Please come forward. Provide your name, address, and comments. Okay, we have no additional speakers this evening. Am I correct that we can close this hearing, hold on action until we hear the outcome of the county planning board's deliberations? Okay, so we will do that. We'll close this public hearing. We will not take action on this application this evening, and we will move to our next public hearing.
The second item on the agenda is R-23-44. This is also a re-subdivision for 201 Kellogg Street, 216 Congress Avenue, 206-10 Holland Street, and 212-14 Holland Street. Owner, Greater Syracuse Property Development Corporation. Applicant, Caitlin Wright.
I'm Terry Luckett from the Greater Syracuse Land Bank. We're at 431 East Fayette Street in Syracuse. There's a total of 6 parcels involved in this re-subdivision. They're on Holland Street, Kellogg Street, and Congress Ave. We're proposing to merge them, the 6 parcels, to create 3 new lots. The vacant lot at 206-10 will be split between 202 and 214. That will create 2 equally sized parcels on Holland Street that will be rectangular. 202 Holland Street is being rehabbed by Home Headquarters, and that's going to be sold to an owner-occupant. The vacant lot's going to be held as new construction site under the Mayor's Resurgent Neighborhoods Program. We don't have a developer identified for that yet, but we're going to hold it in our inventory. A portion of 216 Congress is going to be sold to Barry Jeffries, who's rehabbing the 3-family and detached garage on 201 Kellogg Street. That's about it. Sounds more complicated than it is, really.
Thank you. Questions for the applicant?
I just have one question, Terry. 201 Kellogg is currently being renovated?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thanks.
Additional questions? I have one. On the environmental form, it mentioned that, or the box is checked that the site is substantially contiguous to a listing on the National or State Register of Historic Places.
It's behind the Onondaga Street Historic District.
Any additional questions for the applicant?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there individuals who would like to speak in favor of this application? Please come to the podium to do so. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the application, please come forward. No additional speakers for this application. R-23-44, we will close the public hearing and entertain a motion for action on the proposed re-subdivision.
Move to approve.
Thank you. Thank you. Discussion on the motion? If there's no discussion, then all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? R-23-44 is approved, and we move to our next public hearing.
Who's seeker?
Whoops. We did. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was busy with my notes.
All right, before we go forward with any other of the public hearings, I will ask you, are all of you familiar with the 11, or the questions from the short EAF Part 2?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not going to ask you again, you're familiar. As to this item, has everyone had a chance to review the short form EAF Part 1 included in your packet for this proposal?
Yes.
And do you believe this project will have moderate to large impacts?
No.
Okay. Because you don't believe there will be any moderate to large impacts, I recommend you vote to issue a negative declaration under seeker and complete the EAF Part 3 accordingly.
Move that we adopt the negative declaration.
Second.
Discussion on the seeker motion. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Seeker motion is approved. Thank you.
On to agenda item number 3. It's R-23-45. This is also a re-subdivision for 1153-69 West Fayette Street, owner Joseph Gem, applicant Ryan Benz.
The applicant is here.
Evening. Joe Gem, one of the owners of 1153 West Fayette, mailing address 102 West Division Street. We have a long-term lease signed with Ryan Benz and Steve Case for development of 1117 West Fayette with an option to buy a subdivision for about 22 parking spots to the east of our parking lot for them to complete their development project.
Questions for the applicant?
Is the current fence that's in the parking lot, the re-sub layout?
No, that was just a shrinked version to kind of minimize activity in the winter months.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Further questions?
Joe, can you clarify the number of spaces that you mentioned?
Excuse me, 28 spots.
That would meet the minimum requirements too. We just wanted to verify what that number was.
I did see two different numbers.
Yeah, there was 38
31
on
and
another
28.
aspect, but I was confused whether those were that
It's
unit
for
or.
it's for 38 units. So just to clarify, 38 units, requirement for parking of 38 units.
I see, okay, understood.
Dwelling units.
And the plan, I assume, is a sale predicated on everything that goes with 1117.
That is correct.
Okay. So that you will have no use for those spots? Correct. Right. Okay.
Questions? Nope. Are there individuals who would like to speak in favor of this application? If so, please come to the podium, provide your name and address and comments. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to the application? Please come to the podium to do so. Here's we have no additional speakers for this application. We can close the hearing for R-23-45, the re-subdivision on West Fayette Street, and entertain a motion for action.
You're first.
Yes.
The seeker coming first.
Has everybody had a chance to review the short EAF Part 1 included in your packet for R-23-45?
Yes.
Do you believe this project will have any moderate to large impacts?
No.
Okay, because you do not believe there will be any moderate to large impacts, I recommend you vote to issue a negative declaration under seeker and complete the EAF Part 3 accordingly.
Move to issue a negative declaration.
Second?
Discussion on the seeker motion? There's no discussion, then all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Seeker declaration is approved, and we can move to action on the main motion for R-23-45.
I'll make a motion to approve the re-subdivision as presented with the conditions as presented, i.e. sale of the land predicated on approval for the project.
Second.
Discussion on the motion? If not, then all in favor of the motion as stated, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? The re-subdivision R-23-45 on West Fayette Street is approved. And we move to a related case application.
Item number 4 on the agenda is SR-23-04. This is a major site plan review for redevelopment of a vacant warehouse at 1117 West Fayette Street. Owner 1117 Management LLC, applicant Ryan Benz.
Good evening. Ryan Benz with Redev CNY, 451 South Warren Street, Syracuse, 13202. This evening, presenting the redevelopment of 1117 West Fayette Street. My partners and I are proposing to redevelop these, it's actually two, same parcel, but two buildings connected via a sky bridge built in the late 1800s into 38 affordable units, similar to what we've done on numerous other projects across the city of Syracuse. This particular project will include 9 units set aside for people with developmental disabilities via a partnership with a not-for-profit called Springbrook, who is an established developer out of Oneonta. This is their first project here in Syracuse. And of course, we're established developers here in Syracuse as well. The project is expected to start early next year and should last about 12 months for total completion. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Specific questions for the applicant from the commission members?
You're planning to keep the sky bridge,
We
Right.
are, yeah, from our
Correct,
financing,
right?
yeah, our financing includes historic tax credits, which will include a beautiful restoration of the facade, including the sky bridge.
both floors?
Yes,
The double sky bridge?
correct, yeah.
Okay. And I know there were some comments regarding snow removal, storage of snow removal, should everything go according to plan for the parking. Have you made an accommodation, or is there an accommodation that can be made?
Through the permitting process, we expect, particularly as it relates to stormwater and snow removal and those types of things, to be addressed via the SWIP as part of that. We do expect to install new sewers, and that's all, we're just in the permitting process now, but yes, that is expected, that is budgeted for, and we do expect to make those considerations.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's my understanding, which I'm assuming you understand as well, that you need a special use permit for the parking.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Okay.
And we need to determine, recognizing that the the action requested today is conditioned upon the future approval of the special use permit, and the timiness of that will come into play a little bit because we don't own it today. However, we do intend to make permit as soon as we do close on that transaction, and certainly prior to us occupying or perhaps even starting construction. Yeah.
That's why we have Jake and the lawyer.
Well, those would also
And they
be,
remind me of that.
those would also be conditions on on any physical permit to start work. So a site work permit for actual work on the parking area. That would also be conditions and things that we would then verify on that application as well to make sure that those are being met, and then finishing it by inspecting it and verifying it.
What we'll likely need to work together on is we can't, just from a timing perspective and from a financing, we can't have the project approved and then we submit the special use permit, which could take 30 or 60 days. So I'd ask that we work together on that to maybe submit that application pending our future approval of the permitting and then the subject to closing, and then we can find a way to record that.
And that's why we have Jake.
I'll step in with my hat as, I don't know what I am, but kind of Jake's assistant and from Corp Counsel's office. This application was turned in May of 2023 and languished somewhere for many months, and then one of our new staff members found it and reached out to the applicant, who was under the impression that it was being reviewed. It had not been touched. So he's now facing a funding deadline. So there's not, under normal circumstances, I would not recommend that you take action, but because of this special circumstance and a new code and the transition, we do recommend that if you choose to approve based on the application, that you condition it upon the applicant obtaining a fee title to that parking lot and obtaining the special use permit. And then further, because he's coming in under rezone, which he didn't expect also, that you condition your approval upon him working with Neighborhood and Business Development to certify and document the affordable housing component of the development. That application is not ready yet, but it's premature for him to have to do it. He's making the commitment on the record, so he'll work with MBD to finalize it. So those would be the three conditions that we recommend, given the extraordinary circumstances that are present.
Conditions, yeah.
Appreciate all of your help.
Further questions for the applicant? We have
Thank you
none
all.
at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there individuals who would like to speak in favor of this application? If so, please come to the podium, provide your name, address, and comments. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to the application? Please come to the podium to do that. We have no additional speakers on this application. I think we're in a position where we can close the public hearing for SR-23-04 and entertain a motion for seeker consideration.
Okay, has everybody had a chance to review the short EAF Part 1 included in your packet for this proposal?
Yes?
Do you believe this project will have any moderate to large impacts?
No?
Okay, because you do not believe there will be any moderate to large impacts, I recommend you vote to issue a negative declaration under seeker and complete the EAF Part 3 accordingly.
Thank you.
Move to issue a negative declaration?
Second?
Discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? The seeker motion is approved. We may proceed to action on the main application, the site review for SR-23-04.
I make a motion to approve the project conditioned upon a special use permit and other stipulations noted by corporate counsel. I won't attempt to repeat all those, though. If we
There
need
were
to,
three.
If we need to, you can.
Fee title, obtaining the special
Yeah,
use
I'll just read
permit.
it out to you again. That your approval be conditioned upon the applicant securing a fee interest in the parking lot that is subdivided off of 1153 West Fayette, as shown on the site plan, and obtaining a special use permit as required for a parking lot in this zone district. A further condition that the applicant work with NBD to have the proposed affordable units documented and certified.
Thank you for clarifying. Was there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second, discussion on the motion. If there's no discussion on the motion, we can proceed to a vote. All those in favor of the motion, as stated, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? The project site review for SR-2304 is approved. Thank you. And we move to our next public hearing.
Item number 5 on the agenda is R-23-02. It's a major site plan review for a proposed development of a vacant property into a multi-unit residential apartment building at 710 Van Rensselaer Street, owner Jeffrey Aiello, applicant Carly Hansen.
Good evening. My name is Kate Johnson. I'm the CEO at Core Development. I do have Carly Hansen with me here tonight, who is the Director of Architecture at Core. As Core develops or continues to develop the Inner Harbor, we always had the intention that this south side of the harbor, that we would try and create a sustainable and diverse neighborhood. And this side is mostly slated for residential. So what we're proposing tonight is a 62 one-bedroom, 62 units for senior affordable apartments. And where we're located is really right next to the city park. It says Building 3 up there. And then to the other side is the existing Iron Pier building. And I don't know if you all have been down there, but Iron Pier is 112 market rate with retail and commercial, office, restaurant on the first floor. So we're proposing, like I said, at Unit 3, you know, it has some waterfront, it has nice connectivity to the creek walk, to the park, but also to services along right at Iron Pier. So, you know, we think it's a nice fit for seniors. It's 3 floors above parking on the first floor. We have a presentation tonight we can walk through if you're interested. If you already have everything, we can proceed and answer your questions.
How long's the presentation?
What's that?
How long is the presentation?
We can make it short if you'd like us to. I mean,
Well,
I don't know how familiar you are. I don't want to waste your time if you guys already read everything.
We have read a lot of material, but I think it's good in this public forum to have a presentation that doesn't have to be prolonged. I think hitting the highlights would be a good way to kind of summarize the essence of the proposal.
Great. All right. I'm going to ask Carly to do that, but keep it short, Carly, okay?
Could I get just the next slide down? Yeah. Okay, so as Katie mentioned, for orientation, the harbor is north on this project. Everybody has a different north at the harbor. The area, let's see, let me just cover what she has not covered here. We are located in the mixed-use 4, MX4 urban core. Multifamily is permitted with accessory parking. And as we are over 20 units, a minimum of 10% is designated as affordable. But because we are 100% affordable, we just comply with that. The site is about just under an acre, and the ground floor is 220,000 square feet. So the lot coverage is well within allowable limits. MX4 requires a half a parking space per unit. We are 62 units, 31 spaces required. We have 36 internal in a naturally ventilated garage. In other words, there's screening, but it's naturally ventilated. Bike parking, we have 30 bike parking spaces. I know it's a senior, but it's an active senior project. There are 10 racks outside for 10 bikes, 5 racks outside for 10 bikes, and 10 racks inside for the residents. You access the building. The particular access is right at the end of Shoecraft Drive, which runs left to right there. So just at the right is the entrance to the parking garage. The primary building entrance is mid-block on Salt Shed Drive, which is the one that goes perpendicular up down on the plan there. We've maintained an 8-foot sidewalk in front of the building and increased the sidewalk area at the entrance, worked with some planning comments to achieve that. Behind the building has about a 15-foot setback from the back parking lot, which allows us to maintain the building on our property. So there's a gravity retaining wall that covers the about 8-foot height difference between our parcel and the city block, and that allows us to get maintenance in the future. The landscaping, we've worked with city arborist Steve Harris to develop a landscaping approach that includes native plants for low maintenance and resilient for the site. We have a significant landscape buffer along the
creek walk that kind of buffers the infiltration basin just to this side of the creek walk and the creek walk itself. The treescapes, or the streetscape has street trees consistent with what we already have down at Iron Pier. That is also part of the stormwater retention that was completely designed in the previous phase. So all of this parcel stormwater, this is just the next implementation of what was planned before. The garage openings and screening are buffered with additional landscaping to the sidewalk at the sidewalk level. And a community garden is identified at the end where the building abuts to Van Rensselaer Street. We're hoping to install that under the first phase, but as prices keep going up, that might have to come for a future phase, but we did want to show it on the plan. Can you go to the next? So all utilities, actually, you could go two more. All utilities are in the street. Thank you, that's good. We had installed those under the previous, when we put the city streets in, or the future city streets in, we put in all utilities, and the laterals are to the parcels. The building that you see here is, as I said, 3 stories of residential, 1 level of parking. We've made some modifications, which I think you all saw, which was really to increase the generosity of the sidewalk in front of the building entrance, as well as the overhang at the entrance to make it a little bit nicer transition from the public sidewalk to the building, and some street furniture. You can see the screening to the parking garage and the landscape buffer below. The materials include the dark gray is an EFS material. The lighter gray and the rust color are a cementitious panel system, and a lap siding with a wood look at the entrance features, and Scholdice, which is a prefinished block material, which was also used on the on Iron Pier, is at the base. Any questions?
Yeah, could you say again, where does the community garden, where is that situated in the context of this? It's
So
up
the-
to the street?
So the community garden is actually, the building is located 25 feet off of the right-of-way because there's a utility easement along Van Rensselaer Street.
Okay.
So what we're proposing is within that 25-foot setback area, a community garden that would allow residents to grow plants and in raised beds. We would put in a fence and walkway that they could maneuver, but the interim would be a lawn area until we're ready to do that.
Thanks for the explanation. Questions for the applicant?
All set, thank you.
I have one question. Are you tied into the creek walk or not?
We initially were trying to maintain an access to the creek walk in this location, but as the plans became developed, and vehicular ingress and egress for this building and the future adjacent apartment building, as we looked at those, we felt that it was a conflict between the passenger vehicles and the pedestrians. And so we worked with planning to talk about keeping we have another connection at the end of Iron Pier Drive. We will maintain a temporary connection that will be built when the 2 waterfront apartment buildings are built, but a temporary connection, much like what we have in this location now, will be installed there, and there'll be another one at North Geddes Extension.
Further questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. Thank you both. Are there individuals who would like to speak in favor of this application? If so, please come to the podium.
Ryan Benz, Reed FCNY. Lifelong Syracuse resident. They've done an incredible job on the Inner Harbor already, and I think this just shows their commitment and what could be a great project for our community. I think we need it. I know from a factual perspective, senior housing is of critical need. I think it's the right use for the right location. So 100% supporting. Thanks.
Thank you. Other individuals who may wish to speak in favor of the application, please come forward, provide your name, address, and comments. Are there any individuals who wish to speak in opposition to the application? If so, please come to the podium to do that. I don't think we have any additional speakers for this application. We're in a position to close this public hearing and entertain a motion for seeker determination on R-23-02, the project site review for Van Rensselaer Street.
And prior to doing that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to offer one comment on the staff report. In it, the staff noted that there was a zoning violation for parking. I just wanted to advise that the Corporation Counsel's office has issued an interpretation that we're keeping track of all of those, that the requirement in rezone for islands every 12 spaces is clearly intended to apply to, for example, a surface parking lot, an interior lot. So even though technically it's a violation of the code not to have that proposed in this parking lot, we don't believe that section was intended to apply to this type of parking. Just want to put that out there for you.
That's an important clarification. Thank you for that.
Just for clarification, if we may, for the seeker, I understand the seeker was done in 2013 by CIDA, but that given the time that's passed and changes, it's advisable for us to review the seeker and do a new declaration?
The applicant filled out the seeker as part of their application, and staff also filled out a part 2, so we can kind of a belt and suspenders do the seeker again if you. Everybody had a chance to review the short EIF Part 1 included in your packet for this proposal?
Yes.
Do you believe this project will have any moderate to large impacts under seeker?
No.
Because you do not believe there will be any moderate to large impacts, I recommend you vote to issue a negative declaration under seeker. And
Okay.
I move a negative declaration over this project on seeker.
Second.
Discussion on the seeker motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Seeker declaration is approved, and we can proceed to action on the main application for R-23-02, the project site review.
Move approval of the project as submitted.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion on the motion before us. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? The review for R-23-02 is approved. Thank you very much. We move to another public hearing for this evening.
Item number 6 on the agenda is SR-23-03. This is also a major site plan review. It's a proposal to demolish an existing multi-unit residential building and construct a new multi-unit residential apartment building at 605 Walnut Avenue. Owner Bill Osakowski, sorry, I botched that, Osakowski. Sorry. Applicant Dave Mosier.
Hi, everyone. Just to clarify, William Oshakowski was the former owner. We took title to the property a few months ago, and my name is Jack Mamie of 605 Walnut Avenue, LLC. So we are seeking to build a 13-unit apartment building, similar to many that we've done on the same street. And we worked hard under rezone to make everything fully conforming as it relates to density, lot coverage, setbacks, parking, and all things of the sort. And it's been great to get to know the new zoning administrators, and I see you guys moved your table down here now. But yeah, we're getting used to the new zoning, and if there's any questions, Dave and I could do our best to answer them.
Okay, thank you. Questions for the applicant from the commission members?
13 units, you said, Jack? And how many beds?
I believe 51.
And I noted that there is, and I'm sure Jake and Ira have been addressing this, there's concern regarding the retaining wall on Walnut in terms of encroachment in, first of all, the right-of-way, but also the actual structure itself and the sustain. Are we moving that retaining wall out, what is it, 5 feet from the right-of-way?
I believe that comment was addressed, but I'd prefer to let Dave speak to that.
Okay, Dave, you're up.
Hi, Dave Mosier with Mosier Architects, 1035 7th North Street, Suite 1A in Liverpool. Yes, we did set those front new retaining walls back from the right-of-way to also allow us the opportunity to replace the one, I think, London Plain or whatever, I'm trying to remember the name of the tree that would be coming down. And working with Steve Harris and Jeff Romano, we were replacing them with 2 street trees. And Jeff and I will be meeting out there in the next week to determine exact location and all that distance to be, and everything will be staked out accordingly to provide, right, so there's no encroachment on the city's right of way. And it's back far enough to maintain and maintain a buffer and still provide us adequate stairs going up to the front entrance.
And you're replacing the sidewalks
Yes, all the way.
out to the 5 feet
Yep,
required? Right. And then we'll have the buffer zone, and then we'll have the retaining wall.
that is correct.
And the trees go back into the
Into
little
the-
spit.
Right, into
Yep.
the space, correct.
Okay. That's what I wanted to check. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a note that indicates that you may be applying for a parking reduction based on proximity to mass transit, et cetera. Is that the case? You will be doing that?
Yes, it was my understanding that it's all part of the initial zoning application from my conversations with Christian. But yes, I believe we're within 1,000 feet of at least 2 bus stops, to my knowledge.
And can you recap the numbers going from what level to what level? Is it down to 3 from where did it start?
Sure. So it starts at half a spot for every unit. So that would start us at 6.5. There's an additional 30% reduction for being within proximity to transit, and an additional 15% for having excess bike parking. And then that number, according to rezone, is rounded down to the lowest whole number, which gets you to 3.
So the city can confirm that all of that is accurate and correct based on Article 4, Section 4.4E, 6 and 7. So this project would be in compliance with all the developmental standards within the R5 district. Mara just commented that parking reductions are cumulative as well.
Stack one on top of the other.
30 plus the 15 plus the, yeah. Yep.
Will that be stated as a condition in the resolution, or is that?
It's part of the review. It doesn't need to be part of the staff review already.
Sure, it's part of the, it's within the flexibility, and if they can meet those, then we can approve that. Thank you.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Thanks.
Okay, we are set. Thank you both very much. Are there individuals who would like to speak in favor of this application? If so, please come forward to do so. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to the application? Please come to the podium, provide your name, address, and comments. We have no additional speakers for this application, so we will close the hearing for SR-23-03, and we can entertain a seeker motion on this application.
Has everybody had a chance to read the short EAF Part 1 included in your packet for this proposal?
Yes.
Do any of you believe this project will have any moderate to large impacts? Because you do not believe there will be any moderate to large impacts, I recommend you vote to issue a negative declaration under seeker and complete the EAF Part 3 accordingly.
Move to issue a negative declaration.
Second?
Any discussion on the seeker motion before us? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? The seeker declaration is approved. We may now proceed to the to final action on SR-23-03, the project site review on Walnut Avenue.
Move to approve the project?
Second?
Discussion on the motion before us? All in favor of the motion before us, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? That motion is approved for SR-23-03. Thank you both very much. We move to a special use permit application.
Item number 7 on the agenda is SP-87-48M1. This is a special use permit application at 153 Ainsley Drive. Owner and applicant, Bella's Best LLC.
If the applicant is here or the representative, please come forward. Provide your name and address and a summary of the application. No. I would say by process of elimination, the applicant's not here. Let's hold on this momentarily in case they come dashing through the door while we pause on this and move to another application.
Yes, and we do recommend in the future, and I think we may have discussed this, that an applicant who is a no-show, no-call, that you hold it over for one meeting, but afterward vote to do what you're going to do.
Makes sense. So I think we have one more application on our public hearing docket, the project plan review on East Genesee Street.
Item number 8 on the agenda is PR-23-09. This is a project plan review at 719 East Genesee Street. Owner 719 East Genesee Street LLC. Applicant Anthony Rojas.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anthony Rojas from N Architects, 239 East Water Street. I'm here with Steve Vassallo, one of the owners of the project as well, if you have any questions for him. Today, our project at 719 East Genesee is renovating an existing 27,000 square foot, 3-story building from commercial use to a mixed use project consisting of commercial on the first floor. There's an existing cafe that is to remain, seeking a new tenant for that space as well, and then student housing on the floors up above for a total of 13 units. They range from a single bedroom all the way up to a 4-bedroom unit. So there's a variety of units within, the entire project. It's currently zoned an MX5. We do also own, I believe in the site plan, if we go to the next sheet, the owners own the parcel that's towards the rear of the property that provides all of the necessary parking for the new uses. We're over by 1 parking space based on the new zoning code. So 2 separate parcels, but the owner currently owns both of them, and the parking will service the building. There will be a small, rooftop patio up on the roof as well for some exterior kind of amenity space for the residents. those are the major bullet points.
Thank you.
The city would note that we did receive a letter of opposition that was forwarded to the commission electronically earlier today. We do have hard copies available if requested.
Thank you for noting that. Are there questions for the applicant from the commission members?
One question, we have a note about an issue regarding the setback from the public sidewalk that's not within compliance. However, I don't see any solution or resolution to that, say, moving the building. So I just thought I'd ask is.
Yeah, they're existing. We're not adding to any of those, existing conditions. We're not building any additions or anything that would encroach or create additional, issues. It's all within the existing building footprint.
Just a couple quick questions. I noted in the application that there's New York State approval required.
Yes, so the New York State approval, we were seeking a variance for new window openings on the exterior of the building for some of our residential units. Our initial application was denied, but in speaking with the fire chief and the state, we are going in for seeking a reduced number of openings. But at this time, our submission does not have any of those new windows within them. So we can come back once we receive the state variance.
Okay.
We can speak specifically to the windows.
Okay, so basically that's not going to be part of the initial project.
It can't be until New York State Variance Board can approve it. This is somewhat normal and adaptive reuse in older communities where window openings are too close to a property line, but the city has no authority to actually grant that approval. The only means to do that is to go before the State Variance Board and go through that, which they're in the process of going back through that. And if they do, and if that gets approved,
That's been initiated already.
We'll modify it, yeah.
Okay.
And just to point out that that's normal. That happens annually. I would say we have multiple projects that have to go through that.
The other process that we are going through that I didn't mention is we are going after historic tax credits. So our local preservation board basically deferred we just received part 1 application approval for this project and currently responding to comments for the part 2. So we're pretty close to the finish line in that process as well.
So one of the comments in the written statement by one of the neighbors is the shared use of the ADA access in what I think is on your plan as the courtyard area, I believe. I guess my first question is, is there a defined arrangement of any kind on that use?
The owners are currently in discussion on getting a formal agreement written for that accessibility. Nothing has been formalized in writing. That property is technically not ours. It's the neighbors, neighboring. But we do have doors and we both share access off of the top of that ramp. And that's how it's been used historically. So that's been our approach in the discussions with them. But we hope to seek a resolution with that soon.
You indicated the 7 units on the top floor are going to be marketed as housing, student housing. Yeah, could you elaborate what you mean by that?
The project will be marketed to students. There's a mix of single bedroom up to a 4-bedroom unit. There's no, the ratio of bedrooms to bathroom is 2 to 1. So there's nothing more like, there could be 2 bedrooms serviced by a full bathroom in each unit is kind of the worst case scenario. So if there were ever to be a shift in the student housing market, these units can be marketed as market rate apartments or, for other, residential type tenancies as a fail-safe to the project so that it's still functioning even if, something happens with the student housing market.
No public access for the roof deck, is that correct?
No, that's just for private residence use only.
Okay.
Question for staff. I didn't see it in here, so anyone else is asking. He's referring to designation for historical site. There's no local preservation board issue. It's all deferred to the state.
Yeah, that's correct. So our local preservation planner has reviewed this, and we've determined the proposed scope of work will have no impact on the historic character or any of the defining features of the property, so no further review was required.
Thank you.
And would they come back into the picture in terms of the windows, potentially?
They made that comment after seeing our application with the windows. The windows were removed after their comment period, so I
okay.
believe Kate would be okay either way.
Okay.
We would also verify that with Kate when they get the actual state approval from a state code perspective to do so. We'll make sure that that still stands, and if there were any changes, we would address them.
Using historic tax credits if you can.
And the windows that were proposed are of similar scale, size, and orientation as the existing windows along the same facade, so we kept it in line with what currently exists.
Further questions for the applicant, if there are any? Okay, thank you both. Are there individuals who wish to speak in favor of this application? If so, please come forward. Are there individuals who wish to speak in opposition to the application? If so, please come to the podium. We have no additional speakers for this application, so we can now close the public hearing for PR-23-09 at 719 East Genesee Street and entertain a seeker declaration motion for this project.
Apologies, we were just confirming that we only received the one letter. We received a couple of different comments from this person, but the entire package was forwarded out to the commission.
Has the applicant seen this? Do you know? Does
I
anybody?
Just got it today.
don't know.
We can certainly. We just got it.
Yeah, I understand.
We're referring to the letter regarding the ramp issue? Or
And the other issues
Yeah.
that are
and
outlined
raised a number of concerns.
in the
Comfortable going forward with the seeker determination?
Everybody had a chance to review the EAF Part 1 included in your packet for this proposal? Do you believe this project will have any moderate to large impacts?
No.
No.
As you do not believe there will be any moderate to large impacts, I recommend you vote to issue a negative declaration under seeker and complete the EAF.
Move a negative declaration of seeker on this project?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? The seeker declaration is approved. We may now proceed to final action on PR-23-09, the site review on East Genesee Street.
Move approval. Granting. Based on the discussion on the record.
Can we do that without your presentation?
Without the script, move approval. So.
Yeah, second.
Second, discussion on the motion before us.
I'm going to ask Jake quickly. 1 through 4 in this letter, I believe, is addressed by as the permitting and site review is executed, these issues of traffic, parking, exterior lighting, runoff, drainage, et cetera, are addressed in that process, in my
That would be correct.
experience. Which leaves the last issue, which is I'm not sure I understand this completely, but somebody broke down a wall that allows access from your property to their property, to the neighbor property.
Issue number 5.
Number 5. Well, it's the last one, which I'm not sure.
On the third, fourth page of the handout. Site map.
See it, Jake?
Yeah. And personally, I'm unfamiliar if this is accurate or not, so I can't
either.
speak to it.
Okay.
Another one.
I'm sure they are speaking about the previous owner. They indicate that. Yeah, come on up.
Up on the third floor, there was a connection between our property and the adjacent property to where, and I'm sorry, not the third, the second floor, where the adjacent property owner had additional office space within our building. And they were, I'm not even sure if it was a legal opening or not a legal opening at that time. But during our inspections, that opening had been blocked off with concrete block, and so it's no longer there, separate or allowing any communication between the two buildings. So that's the opening he's referring to.
So basically, the boundary wall between 719 and 721 is existent. It's there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks.
It's been completely enclosed, and there's no more connection.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions. Sorry. On the motion.
For further discussion on the motion? Good. In that case, all in favor of the motion before us, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? PR-23-09 is approved. Thank you. Let's finish off with new business, and then I'll make one more call for the hearing that will apparently remain open this evening. So we have one new business item.
That's correct. One new business item. Item number 3S-23-15. It's a 3-mile limit re-subdivision in the town of DeWitt for 3901 Newcourt Avenue and 3905 Newcourt Ave.
And just confirming that this re-subdivision has been reviewed by the city engineer's office.
Yes.
Okay. Or if there are no questions concerning the re-subdivision, is there a motion for action on this item, 3-mile limit in the town of DeWitt?
We move approval of 3S23-15 as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? All in before us, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? 3S-2315 is approved. And I will just make one more call, but I think I know the outcome of this. If there is anyone here to present a summary of the special use permit application SP-87-48 M1, the project on Ainsley Drive, please come to the podium, provide your name, address, and a summary of the application. See no one coming to the podium, so we will hold this public hearing open for one additional meeting. If there is no further business to come before the commission this evening, we can entertain a motion to adjourn. Nothing else for us tonight? Okay.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? We are adjourned to convene again until October. I forget what date.
30th, maybe?
No, no,
Christian,
no.
when do we meet?
It's sooner than that.
We don't know. 3 weeks from today, very good.